G'day and welcome to the Infernos. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by C6. How you doing, buddy? Right,
A little
so
bit chilly.
a little bit chilly. I'm sweating bullets over here in Australia. Obviously, the wheels will do that to you. So today's episode is going to be about buyer's remorse. We've mentioned this a few times in the past, and we thought it might be a bit better to go into a little bit of detail on this subject because I think a lot of people really need to start thinking about the future, and I think this is a really important subject that a lot of people have just not even considered. And I think we have a responsibility as backers, as we'll get into towards the end of the video. So I guess we'll start off with some examples of buyer's remorse, and I'll kick it off. The first one for me that kind of comes to mind that we can kind of prove already, I guess, is the reclaimer versus the hammerhead. And so I guess this is a price discrepancy remorse, where you can buy the reclaimer currently for $400 and the hammerhead for $725. But then when you get them in the game, what are the prices there, Sia? Because I know you've got them there in
Uh,
front of you.
Hammerhead is 12.5, around 12.5 million, and the Reclaimer is like 15.1 million. So there's your price difference right there in game for
Yeah.
buying them.
And I think we can kind of say now versus then. Now the hammerhead is a much better prospect because you can actually kind of use it in game. But when the reclaimer comes online, you can clearly see from the pricing that it's going to have that more in-game appeal and money earning potential. And I think this is just one example. I can think of a few examples where the price is very clearly, to me, overpriced for what it is. And I think another one of those would be the... actually, I'll let you go first. You give me an example, and then I'll give you mine.
For buyer's remorse,
Yeah,
the Starfare and the Starfare Gemini,
100%.
when when Chris Roberts addressed what it can and cannot do.
Yeah, so what he's referring to is Chris's post that he kind of brought out really early last year, I think it was, and it was just in some random thread. Someone asked a question, and he basically said, "Oh, we're looking at it now that you're gonna have to go out with a hand mining tool. You can still refine it, you just can't mine it. So it's gone from a gas to an actual quantum rock or whatever you want to call it, and that severely has hampered the potential, like to the point that the Starfarer series is just nothing like what it was. It's a shadow of its former self." And that's clearly a design change, and a lot of our examples today will be along that line. So I think the other one that I'm thinking of is the alien ships. Yeah, they may be harder to find in game, but does that justify a huge price increase? And the example I'll give is the Prowler that I have personally looked at buying, and I know Sear actually owns it. But you look at, say, something again like the Reclaimer at $400. How can you justify a Prowler at $425, Sear?
You can't.
Yeah,
It's just alien tax.
yeah.
The only alien ship that provides any real money making is the Bandit Merchantman. Correct me if
Yep.
I'm wrong,
No,
but
you're right. They'll probably all make money in a
in a
non,
way,
yeah, in a way, but like it's how profitable each one is going to be, and not having to rely on other people is definitely makes things easier. So if you can just extract resources out of the ground like mining, it's far better than your skill as a pilot. You probably may make more with a pilot if you know how to do it properly, though. So that is again a wait and see thing. I think I'll let you talk about the next ones here because there's a few ships that fall under this category. Um, you want to
for
go?
cargo at
Yep,
least.
yep,
So buy remorse because of cargo. We have a lot of cargo running fans, so I can understand this. So 890 Jump, Carrick, and Bandit Merchantman all got cargo. All So with the 890 Jump, it was a luxury ship. It had an immense amount of cargo when it first got its initial, like, presented to us as backers.
yep.
Concept sale. Thank you. I couldn't think straight.
Good.
So same thing with the Carrick, but as CIG progressed, they matured, they started figuring things out, and they started. The most important part was physicalized components.
Yep,
This changed everything because this allowed them to build the ship around the components.
yep,
And the 890 Jump was one of those ships that got it. And so when they added all the stuff for the 890 Jump, all the components and everything to fit right, the cargo grid just wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. because it made no sense for the A90 jump to have all its components and then you add all this extra space just so you can have that cargo grid. So they shrunk it down and they gave it the cargo grid that made sense for it, and people did not like it. In
Mm.
fact, there's a bug. I don't even. I think there's still a bug where the cargo grid is
Yeah.
not even the cargo grid they gave it. It's a lot less.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting thing. But that's just one thing. Same thing with the Carrack. The Carrack got its cargo grid cut like over 50%. Over half
Mm.
of it got cut, and the size got larger over time to fit the components, and they made it smaller. And with them getting larger, they increased the price, then increased the price again
Yep.
for its flight ready release, which is not till February. So, I mean, about that. And
Yep.
then the BMM, but basically the BMM, I saw it coming when the Privateer came out. They said the BMM basically is going to get adjusted with its SCU grid
Yep.
because it just wouldn't fit all the stuff they said it would. And
Mm.
so now I feel like all the BMM owners are going to have some sort of buyer's remorse now.
I'm going to add another one in here that we don't actually have on the script that I've only just thought of, and that's overpromised features. And so that would be things like another example on the 890 jump was, if I don't mention this, I know particular one person in the Discord's going to go for me, is the command and control center that used to be in that was also removed. Then I'm just going to very quickly mention, because Algrid's not here, the Phoenix. Lots of features promised for that never made it, and I think that they will not be the last two ships we hear of overpromised features. Yeah, I think that kind of covers most of them, doesn't it? So there's a lot of things like that, and they tend to fall into different areas. And I think one of them is aesthetic changes. And I
Mm-hmm.
think
Like,
you can give a really good example of that with your Vanguards.
okay, so people who know me, I'm all about fit, form, and function. When I thought they were going to do the changes for the Vanguards, the rework, I honestly thought they were going to listen to all the feedback that everybody was giving about the guns, and how it could be better, how it could be a true
Mm.
heavy fighter, and all they did was just change the cosmetics. They get don't get me wrong, they gave us more guns for size 2 guns, like for different specializations. But rather than that, all they did was for the Vanguard Warden, they removed its two of its modular size 4 mounts and gave it the shoulder mounted ones, and it got a cosmetic pass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my book, cosmetics don't win battles. Functionality and skill win battles. So,
I'm
I mean,
very salty about that myself, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
no, it's okay. I now, like we've discussed before, I have an exit strategy to get rid of my last Vanguard, which is the Vanguard Harbinger. Now, since the Inferno
Yeah.
is a thing, I don't need a Harbinger. I really
Yeah.
don't.
And
I was only going to use it to take on larger ships.
I'm the same. I had some CCUs and I had original concept, and they're all melted.
Yep.
So we also mentioned design changes. So we do know that like whenever there's a concept ship, they say things are subject to change, and they definitely do change. I know you
Mm-hmm.
have another example of your Mercury. So tell us
Yeah.
about that real quick.
Just real quickly, everybody knows I love the Mercury Star Runner. If you've seen my videos of me when I show my face, not just me flying around and doing whatever in a ship, I actually have a 3-piece painting of a Mercury Star Runner that hangs right in front of me or behind me when you watch my videos. And it was an amazing ship when it was concepted, and I have a feeling, since there's no Crusader Industry ships that are in game yet, that it's going to change in some way.
Yeah.
And I just gotta be fine with that because I've seen the character. I've seen the 890 jump. The character, I don't even have to tell you guys about the character. You've seen it on Spectrum, you've
Yep.
seen it on your groups. A lot of people did not like the Death Star engines that basically they had. A lot of
Mm.
people like the box ones. So can't make everyone happy kind of thing. So
And I reckon there'll be almost the same amount of people that probably like the new ones. It goes tit for tat every single time. I think
yeah.
another example that I'll give of design changes is like the RSI looks at the moment. So, we've seen the Mantis come in, and everyone's like, oh, I want that look on all my other ships. So that's probably going to be a positive takeaway rather than a negative. So it does go both ways. Um, the next one is probably one of the biggest ones that we are all guilty of, and that is overhype from marketing.
Yep.
They overhype us, but we also feed into it. Things like CitizenCon, where everyone gets all worked up, and we have this almost 1 month long extravaganza, and people, kind of open their wallets and can impulse buy, and I think they kind of rely on that, and what else can I say like that hasn't already kind of been said in that matter? What are your
The
thoughts on that?
For me, the issue, all this reminds me of is documentation.
Yep.
Anybody who deals with documentation in their workplace will understand what I'm
Yep.
trying to say. The issue with their documentation or their brochures, what you want to call them, or the description of ships, and this
Mm,
ties in with even the Star Fair, is that us being the backers, we take whatever they write down, we take our own perception, and we
yep.
interpret their documentation as what we want to think of the ship. And then
We kind
they'll
of have
come
to
out.
though, don't we? Because there's a lack
I
of
know we have to.
information. There's a
And,
real
and
lack of it.
and then what happens is somebody else later will address something, and then whoever or whenever will come out and address it like, oh no, this is what that documentation actually means.
Yep.
So then that's why now the only thing I ever do when a new ship comes out is I don't feed into the marketing crap. All I do is I look at the stabs, the stab. I look at the stats, and then I look at the
Yep.
and then I look at the ability of the ship with the core description,
Yep.
not all the other crap like long range
Well,
or stuff like that.
I think we're all kind of starved for information, and I know you do this, and I know you do this. Was we instantly go to each other and try and get extra information, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And that's something that we'll get onto as I get
You
towards the
were
end.
we're Yeah, we're never gonna have as much information as we want
Yep.
until it is in game. We
And
can ask all the questions we want, we can get all the Q&As we want, or reverse the verses, whatever you want to call them.
yep.
There's only so much information you can get about a ship until it's in game with all of its intended
I
features.
don't think there's a single ship in game at the moment that does have all its intended features. There's not a single one. And I don't care what anyone says, there isn't, because there's just systems with, like, there's
The
no
gray cat.
uh,
Boom, I win.
does that no,
I'm just
because it
kidding.
doesn't have its components either. So there you go. Like, like there's every ship doesn't have the working components properly. So there's always everything's got something missing. No final HUDs, blah blah blah. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
Look, the other thing that we'll get to then, just to kind of wrap this last segment up, is that it is a business at the end of the day. We know
It
they
is.
have to make money. They are fundraising for a game for us to play. It is a necessary evil. Your thoughts on that, Sarah? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's a business. Nobody held a gun to my head and say, "Hey, buy this ship or do it." I'm a grown ass man. It was my choice. So at the end of the day, I can just take everything I've done and just reflect on it. And I think what XU's trying to say is learn from for the new players that are going to be coming into this game, learn from our
Yep,
mistakes.
and that's
And then
leading.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, well, that's
You
just
take it from
leading.
there.
That's leading into our final point. We got two things we want you guys to take away. The first one is this could actually be detrimental to the funding model, because if this goes badly and they try to use this funding model again down the line, people may have mixed feelings, like, oh, I brought this ship and it turned out to be really awesome, but no, I brought out this ship and it turned out to be really crap and overpriced. So it may never work again if it's not done correctly. And like just said there, the last takeaway that we think is really, really important, and the whole reason we kind of started out to do this video, is a lot of us older backers, it's too late. We've already gone too far down the rabbit hole, but I think we have a due diligence to new backers that's actually beneficial to us as well, is to warn them from going down the rabbit hole as far as we went. For two reasons. One, it stops them from overspending, but two, we need crew for our ships as well. So quite honestly, they're doing us a favor by them not buying shitloads of ships, and we're doing them
Yeah.
a favor by saving them crap loads of money. Let's just put it that way. Sia, what are your 2 cents on that?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of drives me bonkers when I see all these orcs say we have like 15 Idrises or we have like 12 javelins or 10 javelins. Like, okay, well, you only can use one at a time.
Yeah.
If you could just get your javelin destroyed, rip. Like, wow,
Yeah.
good job, you got
Yeah.
javelin destroyed. But the only thing that makes sense, if you had 2 or 3 javelins, I understand. Like, You
Yeah.
have one's your primary, one's your backup, one's emergency. But if you
But
are
that's
legitimate
over
in an org
expenditure,
and
isn't it? You really only need one.
exactly,
You know, you're talking
you
about
really only need one.
You're talking about 90 people on one javelin. A fleet of ships really should be a composition of different
It
ships
should
that
be diversity.
cover each other's backs and weaknesses and all that type of stuff. At the moment we talk about fleets as in I own a fleet, Seer owns a fleet. A fleet should not be that. A fleet should be an org situation where I own one ship or two ships, and I bring them in and go, hey guys, this is what I've got. How does this fit into our organization?
Yep, I
And
agree.
I think at the moment, like I'm at that point where I've got too many ships where I would lend them to other people that join the organization. And I think at the end of the day, we've just all got to curb our spending quite drastically. It is good to see that this game is still being funded, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's a business. I'll give it that. But at the end of the day, I think we are all going to have some, like, especially the people that are in the game right now, are going to have some form of remorse when they, from the ones we mentioned today. But not only that, that we've just over-invested into a game where, how can you fly 10 ships at once, as an example? You just can't.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. And I can't see the need for so many ships. Even in my own situation, I have remorse where I've gone, well, I've bought all these economical ships, but I've brought too many of them. And I
Same
made
here.
wise decisions early. And if you look at Sears and my fleet, they are very similar economically based. I don't want this to happen to more people. And I think at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to pass on from our mistakes to the new backers so they don't make the same mistakes. And as I said, in hindsight, they can help us out. So it's a win-win situation if we come together as a community on this.
And I think that's about it.
Yep. Well, do you want to sign us out here?
Yeah. So if you like what we do, feel free to like us and feel free to subscribe. If you didn't like us, you know what to do. Leave a comment below. Leave a comment below. Tell us how you feel. Tell us if there's anything you regret and if you can relate to us, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are in the same shoes as us,
Yep.
especially with different ships. If there's a ship you're salty about,
Yep.
just like me about my Vanguards,
Yep.
just let us know.
I think I'll
Also,
add to that. I'd actually like to see people think is that the right thing to do? Should we be encouraging new backers to not be overspending? Is that the right way forward, or should we just let it lie and increase the funding model?
We're not saying don't spend money. We're just saying be smart.
Yeah, there's a catch-22 there, because if we all stop spending, does the game stop getting made? So it's an interesting foresight.
But continuing the closing.
Sorry.
After you like and subscribe and you turn on that notification bell and enable all notifications so you can get our latest and greatest. Also, join us on Discord.
Yeah.
All of us are on our cellular devices. We all comment if you have a question for any of us. Most of the time, we try our best to answer, even in the comments below. If you have a question for Sears, just say, hey, Sear, I have a question. I'll probably wake up in the middle of the night and look at my phone anyway, because I have insomnia, so I can't sleep anyway.
Definitely, new people hitting the Discord has been affecting our show, and I mean in a positive way. Like the discussions are coming into our show, and things people are saying. So I like the community involvement and adding stuff in, and also they're helping us and we're helping them. So I like that.
Yep.
All right.
And continuing the closing. Hold on. And if you would like to, you can support us on Patreon as well. Don't have to give us much. A little bit goes a long way. We appreciate. But we do this for you guys because we enjoy Star Citizen all together. Don't get us wrong. We love the game. I love the game. He loves the game. I lost the game. I know you guys will hate me now. But all right. I've been Seer.
I've been Execute. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.